Transforming objects in Illustrator is as powerful as it is enjoyable once you get to know the right techniques.
This video is brought to you by EpiPies Academy.
And when you do, I can guarantee that there will be no stops to your ahs and oohs and well, that's cool. So let's get to it. Okay, I got this simple rectangle ready for us. So let's move it around for a bit. The simplest way to move an object is to simply grab it with a selection tool. Again, you could either switch between selection or direct selection tools by pressing the V or the A key. Alternatively, you can hold down the Control key. That will temporarily change any tool you have currently selected to the last selection tool you used. Now, if you want to be more precise, you can use the Move tool. The easiest way to activate it is to simply double-click any of the selection arrows like so. Now in this dialog box you can enter different values, but for now we're just going to talk about the horizontal and the vertical movement. I guess it's pretty self-explanatory. By entering different values we can move our object horizontally, vertically, or horizontally and vertically at the same time. Up here in the control panel we have a transform option which also allows us to move an object. The way this works is pretty much similar to the Move tool. We can enter horizontal, the x-axis, and vertical, the y-axis, movement values. I gotta admit that this is my favorite way to precisely move an object or anchor point. I use it especially when working with guides. The control panel contains also one important feature when it comes to moving objects, and this feature is called aligning. Alignment options sit right here. Now, if you can't see them, you could always go to Window, Align to get this dialog box. This first icon is a flyout menu that lets you align objects in relation to other objects or to the artboard. I'll choose Align to Artboard. So, as an example, I'll select the rectangle and I'll align it to the left edge of the artboard, to the right edge, to the top, or to the bottom. Or I can center it horizontally or vertically, which in this case puts the rectangle right in the center of the artboard. Now I'll go ahead and create another object. Maybe this time I'll create a circle, just so it's visually distinctive. Now I will change the alignment options from Align to Artboard to Align to Selection. Now the objects will align in relation to each other. So, for example, I can align them to the left, right, to center, and so on. Of course, if I wanted to, I could align both of them to the artboard, and for that I would simply have to select them both and change the alignment option back to Align to Artboard. And again, align to left, right, and so on. Okay, so we got aligning pretty much covered, but we're not done moving objects just yet. There is one more trick I'd like to show you here. Sure, you can move an object by simply hitting the arrows on your keyboard, but that's a bit clumsy. It can come in handy when you're prototyping maybe, but if you want to be precise, and in most cases you should be, here's what you can do. Let's go to Edit, Preferences, General. Or, that's a better idea, we can use this shortcut of Ctrl+K. Now in this dialog box you can adjust many different settings like type, user interface, and so on. But what I'd like to turn your attention to now is the keyboard increment option. The value you put in here will determine the movement of an object when you hit the arrow key on your keyboard. And it will affect both the vertical and the horizontal increment. So, as an example, if I set this to say 25 points, hit OK, and now select an object, I can move it simply by pressing the arrow key up, down, left, or right, and I will always get a 25-point increment, which, by the way, is easy to check in the control panel. If I set the X value, say, to 100 points, and now move the object to the right by pressing the right arrow once, I will move it to the right by 25 points, which is our keyboard increment. And as you can see, the X value shows 125 points. The great thing about Illustrator is that it allows you not only to move objects or group of objects, but also individual or groups of anchor points. The easiest way to select individual anchor point or group of anchor points within a certain object is by clicking or dragging around it with the direct selection tool. So I'll make sure it's active by pressing the A key on my keyboard, and I'll select 2 top anchor points like so. And now, since my keyboard increment is still set to 25 points, I can quite significantly move these anchor points to the left, or to the right, or up, or down. Additionally, if I hold down the Shift key, I will increase the increment 10 times to 250 points in this case. And if I keep pressing the right or left arrow, I will sort of make this rectangle dance. Well, sort of. Of course, we can apply movement to a single anchor point as well. I'll select maybe the bottom left anchor point this time and move it around. As you can see, you can get some really crazy shapes with this simple transformation. Now, one last thing here, guys, before we move on. That technique that is sort of a combination of transforming and creating is joining. Now, I don't want to confuse you or give you too much information here, since this is supposed to be a beginner's guide, so I'll just show you the basic way of joining anchor points. Let me clean up the artboard, and let me create 2 vertical lines. One will be longer, just like so, and one will be a bit shorter. And I'll give them black strokes so you can see them better. Okay, so joining happens between 2 anchor points or 2 open path points. To join, we simply have to, with the direct selection tool, select anchor points we want to join, and go to Object, Path, Join. Or, which is better, we could use the Ctrl-J shortcut, and I will join the bottom anchor points using this shortcut like so. So, this is joining, and it's a technique it's really good to have in your portfolio. In the next video, we'll take a look at rotating, reflecting, and scaling objects, so don't go away.